I, like everyone else here, or like most of us here, would like to see who our elected members of parliament are meeting with in their offices, in the halls of power. Now, our liberal democratic system of government is based on trust. That's what it's based on, which is why it is both the strongest and at the same time the most fragile form of government on earth. Liberal democracies are strong because of the compact between government and citizens. Governments like ours, we do not rule by force, but by the consent of the governed. Now, citizens grant elected officials authority to govern in return for these officials representing them well. And if we do not represent the people well, what happens then is we get tossed out at the next election at the ballot box, and rightly so. Now, Abraham Lincoln, he described government of the people, by the people, for the people. That's what he said. Winston Churchill, what did he say? He says, it's the worst form of government aside from all the others. That's what he said. But here in Australia, our system of government has served us well. Since Australia was federated, we're one of the freest, most peaceful nations on earth. We all agree with that one. Liberal democracies are the envy of every person who has ever been doomed to live under autocratic rule. That's why people flee to the West. That's why people never flee to those countries where more coercive forms of government exist. But yet, our system of government, like I said before, is fragile because it's built on trust. The strength of our democracy depends on trust between everyone in this place and the public. Now, I know it's popular to joke about trustworthiness or otherwise of politicians, but by and large, despite some scandals here and there, most people still believe that in this place, most of us are here with the best of intentions. And I believe that for the most part, that's true. Now, it is incumbent upon us here to do everything we can to ensure that that sacred trust and that belief remains and it grows. It is for this reason that I support the idea that ministers should make their diaries public. It's just a good idea. It's essential to a well-functioning democracy. When people suspect that things are hidden, even if they're not hidden, but if they just suspect it, trust is eroded. But when people see that things are put into the open and freely available for inspection, then trust is built. There can be no faith in government when government officials are exempt from scrutiny. If we in this place want to be well respected, we must respect our electors by committing to transparency wherever it's possible. Once again, transparency builds trust. It's not like we're asking ministers to disclose their secret teenage diary entries from when they were kids. These are official meetings, and for the most part, these meetings are in the public interest. We are elected in this place to serve the public, and as part of our public service, it is only fair that those who hold powerful positions release their diaries to this public. Ministers have power, ministers have influence. It is important that that power and that influence is scrutinised. We know, like has been mentioned, that in this place there exists many lobbyists, many special interest groups, many individuals seeking to exert influence over everyone here. Trust in government ministers benefits those ministers, since the public probably more likely to vote for them if they trust them. Yeah. That's right. And trust in government ministers benefits the nation more broadly, as greater trust means a stronger democracy. Now, I'll point to a recent example where the Prime Minister met with our mate Bill Gates recently in a secret meeting. Well, we know that he met with him, but we don't know what they talked about. This man is one of the biggest funders of the World Health Organization in the world. And having just come out of a pandemic, I'd love to know what the Prime Minister and Bill Gates talked about. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my kind of party, the United Australia Party. So sound the starting gun. You know we've just begun.